I'm going to go ahead and just manifest it that 2026 will be the year we finally put down the podcast equipment and stop saying nonsense like this.
I don't treat women as equal. I tweeted the other day, it went viral. I said you can either understand women or you can respect them, but you can't do both. And the reason why I say that is I trust you guys to be women, which is act like children, not have any kind of accountability, make bad decisions, and then immediately infantilize yourself and try to get appeasement from society and feel sorry for you. Versus like with men, when we make our mistakes, we typically have to eat it and we got to deal with consequences. With you guys, you can always say, oh, I didn't know, I'm a victim. Yeah. And society will feel sorry for you. And I look at it, grace. I look at it like, since women, lack accountability in many different things, especially within relationships with men, I'm just not going to give you guys the authority in the first place. I'm just going to go ahead and understand you guys move a certain way and behave a certain way. So I need to be the leader and just kind of guide you through everything. So this is why I'm a big proponent when a guy meets a girl, you kind of got to let her know what the program is up front and let her know, take it or fucking leave it. Yeah. Because the other issue is that in modern society, I don't think a lot, like we discussed before, I don't think many women are wife material. A lot of you guys have bad habits. You talk back. You don't respect male authority. You think you're equal to your guy. You think you could, motivate him or whatever it may be, or tell him what to do. And with that said, I do see your perspective because a lot of guys are idiots. But I think for men, they need to kind of step up and understand that women are the inferior gender, and we need to step up and be leaders in every way. Because realistically speaking, you guys are emotional, erratic, and make a lot of bad decisions. And we have only ourselves to blame if we put you guys in a leadership role in the relationship and it goes to fucking shit.
So you would date a girl with an Instagram that was like calm, like PG.
Like... To be honest, you want to know what guys like to hear from when they talk to girls? I'll give you guys some game right now. I like to hear things like, I don't travel. I've never been here before. Oh, my Instagram, man, I don't really post on it. I'm going to deactivate it, or they don't even have one, or they don't have a social media presence at all. They like men prefer, especially guys that have status, girls that have zero status and aren't out there. Newsflash, guys don't want girls that are out and about and have status like women like in men. You guys find that attractive because when a guy's out and about, whatever, it shows social status, it shows pre-selection, it shows social proof. But for a man doesn't need to verify a woman's social proof to be attracted to her.
If you ever get cheated on, I know people hate me for this, but it's usually your fault. And the reason I say that, particularly with men, a cheating woman shows you every red flag from day one. If you choose to ignore red flags, you'll pay the price. Cheaters show you they're going to be a cheat. And how they show it is very simple, their values. Cheaters show you their past, they show you everything. But ignoring red flags is always going to land you in that position.
Stop decentering men and start centering your hatred for them. Every morning when you wake up, I want you to think, how can I ruin a man's day? How can I gaslight, manipulate, disadvantage a man in my life? Bonus points if they are happy, if they are financially stable, they're really at a good place in their life. How can I center my day derail that man from his goals and his dreams and going to bed with a smile on his face? This message isn't for everyone. Today. Start today.
Is anybody else tired of this? Like, do we really have people outside of social media walking around thinking like this? There's no way you're self-respecting and say these things. I'm a firm believer in that. And honestly, it makes me wonder if the men who are saying this realize that they have mothers at a minimum. You came out of a woman, like a woman gave birth to you. So the least you could do is have respect for a woman. But no. They get on these podcasts and they spew nonsense like this day in and day out. And they have large platforms of people listening to them and taking this information. And then we have another side to the whole battle.
I refuse to do any labor in my life, generally speaking, especially when it comes to men. And the fact that I know exactly what I want and what I don't want is very unnerving usually to men and women. Older women in my life, my own mother, was very uncomfortable when I used to say to her, I am not going to be cooking, cleaning, or serving a man. I don't desire to do it. I don't want to do it. I will not do it. I am not doing it. Okay? And often, actually, it's not just men who shirk at that because they think it's an audacity. They like to accuse me of lacking in femininity, having a chip on my shoulder. I don't really care what they think because as far as I'm concerned, why would I, as an adult human being, serve another adult human being just because I'm a woman? Because you have to realize that a lot of these kind of chores and tasks that are assigned to women is purely because you're a woman. Cooking, cleaning, serving, having sex with them, allowing them to have access to your body. Because let's not even get into the fact that there is a prevailing status quo around women losing bodily autonomy in relationships and marriages. I find that to be disgusting. The fact that men feel entitled to access your body right after childbirth, after serious surgery, like hysterectomies, during the menopause, that some women can't even shower in peace by themselves without a partner standing at the door or being in the shower with them. I know what I want and what I don't want. And I am unafraid, unapologetic about being clear. I'll never forget when a man who was interested in me called me up one day and asked me to meal prep for him. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon and I was at work. He wanted me to meal prep. And I'm not talking a bit of grilled chicken and some vegetables. He wanted a full-on meal of jollof rice, etc. Now, let me tell you something. A blender and a plum tomato will never see my kitchen. That is not my role. I was not designed and created to cook and serve a human being that happens to be male. That is not my purpose. That is not my divine purpose or calling. I'm very clear on that. When you have that kind of clarity, it does unnerve and make people feel very uncomfortable. And that includes men and women, men who say they're interested in you. And what that always reveals to me is that man wants to contain me. Because why you need me when you're an adult and you're a leader, but you need me to cook and clean for you? No. And as I say, older women around me have always felt uncomfortable with my very clear expression of what I do and don't want. I do not do labor, and I'm most certainly not going to be laboring in exchange for respect, in exchange for loyalty. And the reason why this works for me is because I don't want to get married. It's never been a priority. And so marriage and children are never carrots that a man can dangle in front of me. I've had plenty of men who've been interested in me, who've wanted to date me, and they're surprised that at my age, I'm not focused on marriage and children. Their power cards have been withdrawn. Because that means that there's no reason why I'm going to stay in a dynamic, an interaction or a relationship that is not serving me, that is not healthy, that is not respectful, that is not honoring. Because I don't have a clock or a timeline I'm playing to here. I know my worth. For me, I value my self-respect and dignity above all other things and all other people. When you can be really clear unapologetically about what you do and don't want, understand that people will disqualify themselves, but also at times it may feel like you have few options. Now, in my case, I don't really care. But for a lot of you women who do want to go into partnerships, do not forsake what you really want. Because trust and believe, when you're in that relationship, sometimes there's no going back. If you don't want to be doing labor, you need to be clear about that. You need to be clear about that because it is labor. Speak less of the emotional labor. This whole talk, speak life into people. It's ridiculous. You need to think about the day to day. Are you going to be happy and content to get up and do that labor at any time or hour as well? Because there's some of the stuff I see, women getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make a man a sandwich. Ridiculous.
Now, that last clip is another example that just because I don't agree with the first clips, doesn't mean I agree with this clip either. I think these are two extremes and two sides of the same coin ultimately. Hating or disrespecting all men or all women, that's not normal behavior. And I wholeheartedly believe that anyone who speaks like this, they have a lot of pain, unhealed trauma, hurt from their past that they haven't fully processed yet in a healthy way. And that's why they walk around spewing this vitriol. It was exhausting listening to all those clips. And I can't help but wonder if we can't put the podcast equipment away, the cameras away, and go to therapy. And I know I have a camera, I have a mic, but I also go to therapy. I go outside and I touch grass every now and then so that I'm not stuck in this echo chamber of this is all bad or this is all good. And that's what I really wanted to get into in this video today, is the art of nuance. And I feel like we really lost the plot. I feel like speaking in these absolute terms is so counterproductive to what would otherwise be a productive conversation. Like, I think it would be healthy to have dialogue around the way the world works, the way we interact with one another as people, as genders, and try to find solutions to the problems that we have. But instead, what we get is this constant loop of conversation around deadbeat dads, the wives who don't want to cook, the men who want to go 50-50, or some variation of things that people say that they want without really any backing for why they say it. Like, I feel like it would be different if you say, based on my experience, this is what I'm looking for in life. Based on my experience, these are the things that I try to avoid. But instead, you get a lot of people coming out, women are like this, men are like that, and therefore they are bad. That is not a productive way to have this conversation, in my opinion. I'm tired of seeing clips anywhere I go on social media downgrading or denigrating or simplifying men and women in these boxes that they're supposed to fit into, when we know in reality life is a lot more nuanced than that. And also, I will just say, not everybody comes to social media or on social media to think critically. There's a lot of people who just take in this information, they go down a rabbit hole, watch a few videos, and come back out with this renewed mentality of this is the way the world is, without really taking a step back and thinking, oh, not everybody is like that, or well, my experience hasn't given me that result, so maybe I shouldn't just take what they say for face value. Like, we really have to go back to thinking for ourselves. And like, when you hear a message, take the pieces of that message that are positive and productive and healthy, and leave the negativity behind. Like, you don't have to take everyone's whole message. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. You don't have to say, I don't like this person because I don't like anything that they say. I find it hard to believe that there's anyone out there that you can't listen to them for 30 minutes or you can't listen to them for an hour and be like, okay, you know what? I can give them a little props for that. Or you know what? There's a little bit of benefit of the doubt to be given here. But I feel like we have like, no, I will never listen to red pill men. No, I will never listen to feminists. And then you have this gender divide, this gender gap, this animosity between the genders that just continues to grow because we fuel that conversation so much online. And I just want to ask these people, like, did you know that you can choose to live your life in a way that is unique to you based on your personality, your life experiences, and what you desire for your future? Like, you literally have the choice to say, this is what I want, and to seek that out. You don't have to live your life in the same way that somebody else lives theirs, especially when it comes to how you interact with other people, because there's so many things that come into play with how you interacting with one person is going to look different than somebody who might have the same beliefs as you interacting with that same person. There's body language, there's tone, there's affect. There's so many things that come into play with how we interact with each other as human beings. So taking what somebody is saying in terms of, well, these are the boundaries that I have in my life, or I'm cutting these people out, I'm going no contact, I'm going to do this with my parents, I'm going to do this with my partner. Those things cannot just be a blanket application to your own life. You have to literally investigate and see, okay, what would be helpful for me to apply in my life and what is really not helpful and I don't really need to adopt it. So if you see someone online saying that the man needs to pay for everything, I don't think that should give you a carte blanche to walk around and say, well, I'm only going to date a 6-figure man, because you might be missing out on some good men who don't make 6 figures, but because someone online told you that you need a man to provide for everything, you automatically thought, okay, 6 figures was going to do it. And in this economy, not anymore. Or you hear someone online saying that women who are not virgins are not good women, and so you walk around being the barometer or the virgin police for determining who's a good woman or who's not. Those things are too simplistic in my opinion, and I think we need to eradicate that line of thinking and think a little bit more critically and go a little bit deeper when we talk about how we want to live our lives and how we want to interact with other people. Now, that being said, you can choose the way you want to live your life. What you cannot choose and what you don't have the ability to control all the time is what's available for picking. Sometimes you might want something and what's around you or what's available to you doesn't really align with what you're looking for. And that's where it's important to, like I said, especially if you're ingesting these kinds of messages, take a step back and actually think like, is this really what I want? Or is somebody else influencing me to think that's what I want? Or is this what everybody else is doing and I should be doing it too? Are you living through a follower mentality and not making decisions for yourself? These are things that are important to think about when we consume content like this. And honestly, there's so much more to life than just romance and romantic relationships. There's family, there's work, there's self-development, trauma, pain, disaster, family tragedy. Like, the gamut runs pretty wide. So there's so many things that you can put your energy into and not just romantic relationships. But since a lot of these videos talk about romantic relationships, I'm going to take it back to romantic relationships and just dig a little bit deeper. I'm going to just double click right there. I feel like people online have this indignant stance on I deserve the best. And you know what? Ideally, in a perfect world, sure, you would be able to say you deserve the best, and hopefully you'll be able to get the best. But in the reality that we live, that's not always the case. We all have flaws, we're all carrying baggage, and we're bringing that along with us in any relationship that we go into. And so if you think about your baggage and then you think about your partner's baggage, already there can be no perfection. Like, there's no such thing as perfection, even if there wasn't baggage. But the fact that we all have baggage, we all have backgrounds and trauma and childhoods and all these things, there's no such thing as perfection. So walking around thinking that you're perfect and you're looking for the best out there, and somehow the people out there also are not looking for the best and wouldn't be able to see flaws in you, that's already a net negative. Like, no one's going to win in that situation. So you have to approach life from a more realistic standpoint of, I'm going to try to find a good person for me. I'm going to try to find somebody that makes me happy, that empowers me to do more, that motivates me to get up in the morning. Those are the things that you need to look for, not necessarily this checkbox of, oh, he needs to have this or she needs to be able to do that. Like, those things, they're not going to get you very far. Let me just interject here and say that there's going to be somebody out there who's like, well, finding a partner is not the most important thing. That's not what my goal is. That's not what I'm looking for. It's not a flex. Yes. Okay. I understand. Even if you're one of those people who says that finding a romantic relationship or a romantic partner is not a goal for you or it's not important to you, the attitude and the approach that you have to life by taking in some of this information and applying it to your life, the attitude that you develop through this content, if you're not careful, will very much have an impact in other areas of your life. You don't want to be that person that says, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, but your family, your friends, and your colleagues still don't want to be around you because you're that negative of a person. If you walk around with this stubbornness and this inability to see life for really what it is and not just what you think it is, you're not going to be a pleasant person to be around. So forget the romantic relationship. People are going to avoid you in general. And I don't know this woman, the unpunishable woman video that I showed. I don't know her. But the way she comes across in her videos, it's just like, I don't think I would want to have drinks with you. I don't think I would want to go out to dinner with you. Like, it seems exhausting because it seems like this whole, and I'm going to get to it in a little bit, but like this whole idea of decentering men and men are not this, and I don't need a relationship. I don't desire marriage. I don't want kids. Like, no one can hold that against me. All these things that you're saying, it's like just this negativity. Like, how about we reframe the discussion in another way? I mean, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, but I don't know. I just feel like when you have a whole platform and it's all about how men are not worth it, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Like, there's another video that she made about how she says, like, I don't care about the male gaze. I know I'm ugly and I don't care. And then she's like, I think it's actually an advantage that I'm ugly or blah, blah. Like, she just said a whole bunch. And I was just like, is this how you walk around thinking? Is this how you go around, like, living your life? This has to be exhausting. Like, I don't know. Me personally, I would much rather have an approach of there's more to life than just this one aspect. And even if I was going to have a stance that was maybe unpopular or popular, depending on who's consuming your content, maybe I just won't be so firm in the stance and I don't leave myself any room or any grace to change my mind if I wanted to. You know, there's a lot of content creators online, like the body positivity movement for a while there. People were coming on and saying you can be beautiful at any size. And we had a lot of plus size women who had platforms advocating for plus size women to embrace their bodies and love their bodies the way that it is. Like, don't change anything. And then over time, you see they come out and they're like, so I've been on a GLP-1. My doctor told me to take it. And, you know, da-da-da-da-da. Then you fast forward a little bit and they're skinny. And now they're like, I've never felt better. I'm da-da-da-da. So their audience feels betrayed because they were so stubborn in how they were presenting their content to begin with. Like, leaving no room for the nuance of, hey, maybe it's okay to lose weight. Maybe it's okay to come out and say, I'm on a weight loss journey. But no, instead they were like, no, being fat is okay. There's nothing wrong with being fat. And they stood 10 toes down on that until something happened. Now they have to lose weight, or they chose to lose weight, and now they have to change their whole message. And now they have to come out and basically, like, shoulders hunched over and damn near apologize to their audience for daring to go back on what they were saying. So I feel like as a content creator, it's just okay. And best practice to generally leave a little grace and a little room and the option to change your mind if you so choose, by not having these absolute statements, these absolute stances on life, because life doesn't operate like that. There is no right formula for human connection. I just want to say that. And like I mentioned, there are so many factors that go into how you interact with other people, romantic or otherwise, that if you walk around thinking this way, I can't help but feel like you're not seeing the bigger picture that is life. Like, I see so many self-proclaimed alpha male podcasters talking about how women are good for nothing but pumping and dumping. Like, they need to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. They need to be seen and not heard. They don't need to do anything except exist and look pretty for a man. And then I also see a lot of self-proclaimed feminists who walk around saying men ain't shit and women don't need to bend at the knee for men and you need to be self-sufficient and independent. The reality is we all need one another. We are codependent, not interdependent. We are interdependent beings, and it's okay for us to embrace that. This idea that you don't need a man, it's like, are you okay? If you don't need a woman, are you okay? Like I mentioned, there's a lot of unhealed trauma, a lot of pain that needs to be processed there. And I also feel like both sides are kind of saying like, oh, we don't need women or we don't need men. So like the whole notion of decentering men and decentering women, but they spend so much time talking about it that they end up centering them again. So you're not centering them for romance, you're centering them for hate. Or you're not centering women because you appreciate women or you love women. No, you're centering them so you could denigrate them, so you could bring them down. So ultimately, you're not accomplishing your goal of decentering anything. You're just going back in a backdoor kind of way to do the very thing that you don't want to do, which is talk about men and women all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to hear it anymore. There's so much more to life. So much more to life. And we don't need people to continue to crusade and create this gender divide or widen the gender divide. We don't need any more of that. We need more positivity. Like it or not, we need both men and women to be active members of society so we can have a productive society. And if you're anti-man or anti-woman, do that on your own time and leave us out of it. We are tired. All right, that's all for today. I would love to know what you guys think about this topic, so drop your comments down below and I will see you in the next video. Bye.